Probably not. We don't do that.
Sitting there.
The songs. I hope I didn't break it.
I'm sure the
Fly
battery.
off again. I'll have to put it right in the pocket. I still try to find the belt. Oh, good.
And she maybe.
Well, I hope it stays there.
Thank you, Corey. Well, welcome everyone on this rainy, chilly day after our Thanksgiving holiday. Did everyone have a good holiday? Yes, good. Good. Well, we're going to stand up first thing and sing our song. I tried to make it easy for all of you and put it in the front of your book. Prayer of the Child of Love. Please stand.
All right, let's hear those beautiful voices. I look forward to this all week long. Your kingdom come, your holy will be wholly done. Spirit, source of love, you flow through me, your loving child, eternally. Every day, in every way, amen. Every day, I will pray again. Father, Lord, God, your kingdom come, your holy will be wholly done. Spirit, source of love, you flow through me, your loving child, eternally. Everywhere, let love be there. Amen. Everywhere, this my prayer,
Beautiful. What did you think, Corey? Did they do a good job? Yes. Just beautiful. I don't think we're going to get tired of singing that one, do you? It's just a beautiful, beautiful song to start our service with. So let me say, before I get started here, you've got your connection cards in your bulletin packets there. And if there's someone or something you would like us to pray for as a community, please jot that down, and as the basket comes around for collection, we'll say a prayer together for everyone that you've listed on those cards. And now we are going to start with a beautiful grounding, centering meditation. So I'd like for you to put your feet on the floor, close your eyes, and let's take 2 deep breaths together. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and out. I invite you to lay down all of the busyness over the last few days, all of the planning and doing and driving, as we come into this room fully together, mind, body, and spirit. And as we breathe, we feel our minds calming. And as we breathe out, we smile. We feel the smile in our heart. Dwelling right now in this perfect present moment. We feel the magnificent preciousness of this moment, this right now. We feel the peace in this moment. And we feel the joy in this moment. And we feel deep, deep in our hearts the pure, true, divine love that is this very moment. A purity of love that not only transcends our ego minds, but transcends this earthly dimension. And in our hearts, we smile. Together we say, and so it is. Thank you so much. So another song that we're going to sing together on page 6, Loving Service. So please stand if you would.
And it reminds us that
And with open hearts, we greet one another. So before we sit down, do greet your neighbor with namaste or a hug or a handshake, whatever is good for you. We are sounding so good. I'm just thinking back to February when we first started getting back together. And this is just night and day. Of course, we were wearing our masks so our voices were muffled. Everybody's just really feeling it now, and that's so good. It feels so good.
Muslims for a couple of years.
Yeah, yes. Corey, is this the one you need your hand up or no?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So we'll hand out.
Well, that's going on. What we're going to do is I'd like to invite you to join in a little experience with me, if you would like to. This is a simple one-note chant based on what I call my reality check meditation. And at the end of the day, at the heart of it all, who am I? What am I? What are we? What is all of this? And for me, at least, it always comes back, always comes down to love. One infinite, eternal, unconditional love that we live and that we move and that we have our being in. That dwells in its fullness in each of us, as each of us, underlying all the appearances of separation, joining all being in unity. For love is holographic, and every part contains the whole. So what we're going to do is this. I'm going to form a chord, this chord, many notes, one chord, and ask you to find a note, a tone, somewhere in this chord, a note that feels comfortable to you, that resonates with you. And I'll lead us in this chant and give us lots of opportunities to breathe, nice and deep, to breathe love as love, love breathing love, love within love. And so we begin taking one deep breath. There is only ever love alone. Deep breath in, there's only ever love. There is only ever love alone. Deep breath in, breathing in love, life, light. There is only ever love alone. Breathing in love at the center, love surrounding all things. Deep breath in together. We are only ever love alone. that joins us all together. We are only ever loved alone. We bless Him, the one love that we all are. We are only ever loved alone. Breathing in that exact same love in every heart. Deep breath in is that one love, that unity consciousness that we are. I am only ever loved alone. Breathing in, I am only ever loved. I am only ever loved alone. Breathing in, the only love there is. I am only ever loved alone. Deep breath in, the only anything there is. Holy Spirit of love, breathe in. Unchanging, unbounded, unconditional love. And thank you for joining in the experience with me. Namaste in that love to all together. Thank you.
What a beautiful experience. So this is the time in our service when we stop to say thank you, and we've heard those two words so many times over this month. Thank you, thank you. And we can't ever say it enough. We can't ever feel our hearts filled with gratitude enough. So I ask you to go within just one more time here and fill your heart up with loving gratitude. Loving gratitude for all of the blessings and gifts in your life. Gratitude for our fellowship community, for each other, these beautiful beings in this room and watching with us virtually, the beautiful beings that support us and hold us and lift us up. And we are here because of your generosity, the generous donations that you provide to allow us to come together like this every Sunday and do so many other things. So please hold your gift in consciousness and vision with me a thriving and flourishing fellowship community. And Richard's going to come around with the basket finishes up, I just want you to join me as we say the blessing together of our tithes and offerings. You'll find it on the front of the bulletin. The light of divine love shines eternally, blessing and multiplying our tithes and offerings. I joyously give, knowing I always have enough to share and to spare. And if we would stay within a few more moments as we hold close to our hearts those that we have offered for prayer. We are one with all these beautiful beings. And so we know who they are and they know who we are. We pray together that all those listed on the cards in our basket and all those in our hearts and minds across this globe are held in love. May they be healed and comforted. And may they be safe from all harm. And may they know in their hearts that they are well and perfect and whole. And together we say, and so it is. Thank you. We have another fellowship song to sing, and I'm going to talk to you about it in a minute. So it's on page 7. Oh wait, I'm sorry, no, it's on page 41. I just love this song, and I thought it was just perfect for today. This is my song. But I want to talk to you about one line in this song that just is difficult to sit with me when I sing it. And so I'm going to sing it a little bit differently, and you can join me if you like. It's the third verse, 1, 2, 3 stanzas down, and it reads, "Let Christ be lifted up till all men serve him." And I'm going to sing, "Let love be lifted up till all awaken." And if you would like to join me in that, please do. And if you have your pencils out, you might put that in your book, so next time we can remember to sing it that way. Page 41. Third verse, third stanza down, third bar down. Did everybody find that? And when you're ready, please stand and we'll sing this one out loud and strong for all those
All men
people.
do what?
Let love be lifted up till all awaken. Such a beautiful song for this Thanksgiving to remember our,
Now it's woke.
yes, to remember all those across the globe, our brothers, sisters, siblings. Please stand.
This is my song, O God of all the nations, the song of peace, for land afar and wide. This is my
to have Father Peter Doherty with us. And I would just love us all to give him the warmest of welcomes.
Outline. So I'll stand back here and keep glancing at it this way. It's a privilege to be with this spiritual community in a world that's gone mad in so many ways. So when I read your Fellowship for Today principles, purpose and principles, I resonate with the awesomeness they communicate. I had the copy, but I rushed out of the house, didn't have it, but the things that strike me. The world desperately needs to be all of this. The divine love, our God is love. Fellowship recognizes a supreme spiritual presence, a divine oneness. Sharing our individual journeys in loving community. Loving service builds community. We manifest divine love through mutual support, social action, and a commitment to social and environmental justice. The world desperately needs us to be this. So that's my big point here. The world desperately needs us to be this. Developmental psychologists, starting about 100 years ago, began to scientifically study stages of growth and development. It's kind of easy to see kids. You see them grow every day, practically. But through life, there are the stages. And they came across the fact that there are about 6% of people who have reached what in one model is called integral stage of growth and development. And it's described that keeps jumping here. Glad I don't jump. Estimated that maybe 6% of Americans have reached it. It's a fundamental leap in meaning. Only about 6% of people. A fundamental leap in meaning. There is no judgmentalism. It is understood that people have their traumas, limitations, addictions. Everyone. There is loving and understanding of people where they're at. Things are there's less of either or thinking. Everything is both hand thinking. So how quick we are to judgmentalism. I'm constantly, I love this phrase and I use it. I catch myself out of the side of my eyes. Ooh, you just had that disgusting feeling about him. Oh, good. Let that trauma, whatever that came from, let that flitter away. Now that I'm aware of it, let it go. Bye-bye. Love you. Like I'm learning to love the broken pieces of myself that are in here. I love that little Petey in me. The messed upness I still am. Wow. Teresa Lisieux said, don't focus on your faults. That's egotism. No, you focus on what's ahead here, what's present, loving this moment, not on my faults. That's egotism. See, and so achieving higher state of growth in human consciousness means letting go increasingly of all that. There's a difference between judgmentalism, which comes from a superiority, self-centered place, and understanding wrong and evil attitudes and wrong and evil behaviors of people, and accepting that as the reality, accepting the person who she or he is, here and now. Yeah. I did tell this, I don't know if I told this story, but once I was giving a talk and someone hearing it told me later on, and Donald Trump was president, I said, our brother Donald Trump, and she laughed, and then she saw I was serious. That stunned her. Okay, if it stunned you, good. I'll say it again. Donald Trump is my brother, period. That's the starting point. What if I was actually literally born genetically as a brother of Donald Trump? What might I grow up to be? I don't know. There does not need to be judgmentalism. And there's a difference between that and understanding the wrong and the evil, and then we decide, okay, do I do something about this? This person saying this thing that's so nasty. Maybe in this circumstance I say nothing. I love the person. Or, yes, Peter, you should intervene. We make those choices. Up to the point, yes, I'll put my body in between this man who is beating this child and won't stop when I tell him to. Or whatever. We make choices, but we take people where they're at, knowing people go through stages of growth. And we learn to accept that. Because children are being born every day, and that's going to be a continual thing. There's no coming to a place where all human beings here at this moment are enlightened. No, because babies are still being born, and they're going through traumas, and they're going through good things, and but the world needs more people to become wholesome in the higher stages of growth. There's more creativity, there's more seeing connections, seeing the interconnectedness of all people and all things, being creative in situations, being creative in industries, being creative, constantly thinking of the connectedness all the time. Wow. Motivated by love and caring. So, I'm saying the world needs us because these developmental psychologists have pointed out that historically, when about 10% of the population reaches a higher stage, it brings the whole culture up. It has a tremendous effect on the whole culture. In 1400 AD, you talk about women's rights, people wouldn't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? Or others are equal to us. You know, we're a Christian land here in London, England in 1400, or we're this Muslim community, or what do you mean others are equal to us? Of course, our God is the true God, etc. That's where societies were. They wouldn't know what you're talking about. Wow, what an advancement. They were always individuals, and they'd get in trouble. Women burned as witches because they had healing capacity, and that threatened clergy who were, horning in on our power, etc., etc. Burned at the stake for being a heretic, etc. Because in the law and order stages, you don't allow differences. So we need 10% to reach this integral state. Desperately. I'm working on it. I've only got 15,000 light years to go, but I'm working on it. How about you? And I'm seeing more and more people around the world, numbers of people that are awesome. Awesome. The black mother whose child was killed in racism, saying in the microphone, she forgives. What? I forgive. I don't want that person to be executed. No. It's not about punishment. There are awesome people, indigenous people all over the world, understand that closeness to the earth, and they are a mass movement of nonviolent resistance all over. So, we need to realize how serious the situation is. The collapse, I'm calling it. the world is in deep crises. We hear that, we have a sense of it, but I love this saying. I think it's an Oriental saying. If we don't watch out, we're liable to end up where we're headed. That's exactly what's happening. The experts are saying if we don't turn things around, we, in terms of global crisis and climate change, we will not have civilization as we know it in decades from now. What? People might hear that, but that's how dire it is. That's how dire the crisis. And the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists have put the clock, the doomsday clock, that started in the Cold War, it was these many minutes to midnight with the nuclear weapons, etc. They have put the doomsday clock to 100 minutes to midnight. Why? Because the threat of nuclear holocaust is greater today than it was during the Cold War. That's the insanity. Talking about use of nuclear weapons today. And if nuclear weapons are used in exercises done by the military decades ago, all right, about nuclear weapons, and the sides played the war game. Seriously, okay, you're this country, here are your values, what you have, and here's this other country, and you have this enmity, and so one attacks, and then the escalating. In all 20 games played, it always ended up in nuclear holocaust. There was no working out agreement in the games. So, we're seeing the breakdown of systems. Well, right now, we have to understand that we're moving toward, a dictatorship, but it's an inverted kind of thing. It's not one person. See, it's a group, an elite group of extremely wealthy elites. They are the ones who run things. They are the ones calling the shots. Of course, if you were a multi-billionaire and you're a sociopath, of course you're going to run everything with the power you have. Of course. So we have to understand how systems of violence work. The wisdom of this is important. We're brainwashed. All cultures are brainwashed to think what the powerful of the culture tell us and insist on. The whole idea of American exceptionalism. See, if I go around saying, I'm the greatest, I'm number one, I'm the greatest, I have a mental problem. But culturally, we're the greatest, American exceptional. We're the greatest that's ever existed. We're the greatest country in the world. It is a social psychosis. And the behavior is psychotic. And we're told, well, of course, America, I love my country. The patriotism of it, patriotism, what do you mean? Studies were done a few years back among countries in the world, and what kept coming back is America is the greatest purveyor of violence in the world today. What are you talking about? We overthrow democratically elected governments. After the Cold War was over, there was the attempt to come together. Gorbachev and others were reaching out to the West and agreed to the reunion of East and West Germany, and agreed to the independence of the Ukraine, which is on Russia's border. Remember what it was like to have nuclear weapons in Cuba off our border? We could never allow that to happen. No right-thinking American will allow that to be. We'll destroy the rest of the world. No way. But we have weapons on Russia's border. We have weapons on Russia's border. I'd be paranoid if I were a Russian citizen. So the insanity it has been the policy of the U.S. to weaken Russia. since the Cold War. Apart from Ukraine has merely intensified that. We have found a reason to weaken Russia all the more, pumping billions of dollars of weapons into Ukraine to destroy Russia. The hell with Ukrainians, it doesn't matter. They're being bombed and killed, so on. Do you notice we don't have that affection for black people going through the same kind of crises Ukrainians are going through? It's the whole racist background that we've grown up in. Yeah, Ukraine, we got to save Ukraine. They're good people. Their leadership has done evil. And in war is an absolute evil. All sides in war commit heinous crimes. All sides in war rape, torture, kill, destroy buildings and people and infrastructures. All people in war do hideous, unbelievable, diabolical evil. And then our men come back from wars broken psychologically and physically. In other words, there's no such thing as a just war. That's insanity. But we've been taught it. Good Christian teaching, where there are just wars. Well, what are Ukrainians supposed to do? Well, if I were a Ukrainian, I would not take up arms and guns. I would work on the resistance, a nonviolent resistance to it. We'll get to that in a little bit, about an hour from now. No, I don't. We're seeing the crumbling of the American empire. And you better believe it that the very wealthy elites, their loyalty is not to the United States of America. They are more powerful than that. Their interest is in their global wealth and power. And they band together, even with their differences, to keep that power. Increasingly stealing the resources, they become richer. A few stats. America has 735 billionaires. Just unbelievable. 2 years ago it was 400 something. What? Oh, you better believe the pandemic and this war is making them richer by the billions every month. And all of the supplies, companies that all kinds of supplies and food and everything to keep a war going. Oh, people are getting richer. Unbelievable wealth. And Democrats and Republicans, it doesn't matter who's in. In this, we're seeing the good in all the people in it. Joe Biden is my brother. He's a good man. And he is a part of diabolical evil also, doing good things. And he's pumping money into Ukraine. That's it. That's diabolical. When you walk there in the Ukraine, be there. The horror going on. That's for the good of Ukrainians? Well, what are you going to do? Let them just be taken over and do nothing? No. Resistance. Love, first of all. And we'll get a little more to that. But I'm trying to point out various aspects of our culture. Surveillance capitalism is all set up so that we are commodities, and they know every action, they know everything we like by our phones and whatever they pick up, and it's all making money. And Facebook makes money off of feeding on people's fear and hate. They'll keep going to it because that's the very thing that they're addicted to, fear and hate. And that's what they're doing, deliberate. And they're all my brothers and sisters, and I love them. They're all my brothers. Donald Trump is my brother. I love him. Bezos is my brother. I love him. And he's still part of radical evil. The ruling class. Their loyalty is not the United States. So we have to keep flushing out our being brainwashed. And we have to get judgmentalism. Well, you're criticizing America. That means you're unfaithful or you're unpatriotic. What are you talking about? I criticize myself. I hope I criticize myself. I love myself, and because I love myself, I will face the reality of the stuff in me that is dark. Okay? Sometimes I'll laugh at myself to keep my balance so I don't get lost in depression because, I'm beloved, period. So, college athletes this year, they now have the ability to make money as stars of basketball and football, etc. They now can brand their name and hire an agent and be making millions of dollars while they're a basketball player at MSU as a star. How sick. His sickness increases. And the history of capitalism is a history of enclosure, buying up swaths of life, that every aspect of our life is for profit. Everything about us is set up for profit. It's that bad. And it's going to crumble. It is crumbling. Corporate capitalism is crumbling. When Michael Moore made the movie Capitalism, a Love Story, he interviewed me in that. And one thing I said is, corporate capitalism is a radical evil. I said that. Peter, how could you say such a thing? It's the stuff I'm talking about. Capitalism is based on profit. That's no way. And then you tie together democracy and capitalism, putting them together. No, they're two entirely different things. So I'm pointing out bits and pieces of the horror that is unfolding. If I last 5 years from now, because I'm 39, you never know. If I'm alive 5 years from now, I can envision being put in a temporarily made concentration camp for people who resist the growing dictatorship of the wealthy. Yeah, because I will be speaking out. We see it in Russia. We're going to be there also. So I might be in a concentration camp. Yay! Yay meaning whatever gracious lovingness, whatever. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what happens to me. Thing is, how can I be faithful this minute? That's what you are all about here. Oh yeah, we need each other. And we need to keep growing this. Well, maybe that's enough kind of images of, but every aspect of our life, there's goodness in it. I am privileged. I have retirement, even though I'm only 39. I have retirement and health benefits. Wow. I am the exception. I am male. I am white. I'm an American. I have an education. And I have a title, Reverend. Wow. I'm the privileged. So I have to use my privilege to love and undo the horror that is unfolding. So if I'm scaring you, good. If not, I hope it's not because you just don't let it in, but because integrating it, yeah, okay, we're ready. We have been so brainwashed. People think violence, yeah, they think of individual acts of violence, or this terrorist act, or that, or this person beating up or abusing his wife, or whatever. No, you got to think system. Like Donald Trump as president, was he the epitome, or was he the problem? No, he's the face of the problem. The face, not the heart of the problem. If he went way off track against the wishes of the very wealthy ruling elites, they would get rid of him. Absolute ruthlessness. And they're all my brothers, and they have their good qualities. Like I could imagine sitting down with a commandante of a Nazi concentration camp and being treated royally. Oh, I'm a clergyman, you're welcome, and having dinner. And I might see, wow, he really loves his wife. And or at least he loves his dogs, and he's brilliant about this and that. I can see the good things about him and love him to the core while hating all that he stands for with his what he does. Oh, he's been so brainwashed. Anyway, and I want him to be turned around. Saved, the only meaning of the word saved is healed and transformed. Salvation is all about human growth and healing and transformation into becoming love. That's what salvation is all about. It's not about some white man out there on with a long white beard with a checkbook of everybody's names, and he's going to give them hell if they disobey his rules. Whether it's God or Allah or whoever, there's no such thing. If horses grew to having an intelligence, their gods would look like horses. Yeah. So anyway, we have to realize the deepness of the problem is growing. So what do? Let's get back here, Peter. There we go. We see the breaking down of all systems. So it could be that in the near future, there will be such a breakdown, this is all over the world, that government systems increasingly are dysfunctional. Regional, national, local. Diminishing resources, increasingly hoarded by the few rich and powerful. Resources of intelligence, surveillance of everyone, police as servants of the rich and powerful. Kill or throw in jail, prisons those who resist. Food systems falling apart, food not being able to grow, where food distribution systems breaking down, no flying food over thousands of miles, even from one part of the U.S. to another. Medical and hospital services diminished, can't get medicine. There won't even be a hospital anymore, etc. All kinds of things. Heat, light, and electricity might not have it. Fewer goods of any kind. More homelessness, nomadic wandering, roving gangs taking advantage of what they can. This is all very probable if we don't turn things around. So moving on. All right, with that happy note, where do we go from here? Well, it doesn't have to happen. The bets are not very good in our favor of turning it around. At least what's happened historically, you've had empires grow and crumble and crash, and it's a hell, the destruction within and or without. And then there's a rebuilding afterward, kind of a starting over. That's been part of the pattern. We're not the end of the line. Maybe we're only in the middle of things in a 13.82 billion year old universe. Our planet Earth, 4.5 billion years old, might be only partway through its life cycle. We're not the end of the line. We don't know. So we each discern this is the reality today. We have to discern individually and collectively. Well, what do we do? What must we do? What are we able to do here and now to respond? We all make choices. We help each other. I'm with Meta Peace Team. I feel blessed to be part of it. Like giving this talk, I was part of that, inspiring each other to carry on and educate others. How do we build local community? How do we deepen? Yeah, building community, local community. In time, we may have to go underground. And so our subversion of love, who knows? We have a great history, though, of nonviolent resistance the last 125 years. Really beginning brilliantly with Gandhi in South Africa, and then in India, and then everything that has transpired. It has been awesome. The power of nonviolence in dealing with conflict is awesome. Two women, let's see if I have their name here, Stefan and Chenoweth. They did a study of nonviolent revolutions from 1900 to 2006. They call the study Why Civil Resistance Works. And they found out that nonviolent revolutions were more than twice as effective as violent revolutions. More than twice as effective than violent revolutions. And they found out that when there was nonviolent revolution, the opposing parts that had to come together against the common enemy in a nonviolent revolution, there was a more democratic spirit that lasted longer after, driving out whatever the dictatorships or whatever. It lasted longer because they had developed a culture of nonviolence, and that perdured. So, I am with Meta Peace Team, and I'm doing my piece. I'm getting older. Part of my contribution is accepting, letting go, day by day, day by day. And I stayed up with a friend all night in the hospital, who had been taken to the hospital. Well, that wiped me out for days. When I was young, I'd go to work the next morning, of course. No, all right, who am I, and what can I do, and what can we do to try to have an impact? To help educate people, influence people, joining efforts at transforming some aspect of the racism, sexism, whatever. All of us need to make this a priority according to our physical and mental abilities. To make this a priority of time because the world needs us. So just a couple things here. In Nazi Germany, a few examples. Thousands of Germans helped or smuggled Jews out of Germany, hid them. Thousands and thousands, risking their own lives. Marvelous. And that's replicated in examples throughout history. Sophie Scholl and her brother Hans and about a dozen others were young people, college students. They became the White Rose Nonviolent Resistance. That's what they call themselves. They distributed anti-Nazi propaganda leaflets at the university where they went, University of Munich, and then, seats in bus stations and other places. Finally got caught. They were executed. The Confessing Church in Germany. It was a movement within German Protestantism in opposition to the growing Nazism in Germany. And they were caught, the leaders executed. Like Dietrich Bonhoeffer, like Martin Niemöller. Martin Niemöller is the one who said, first they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists. I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me. There was no one left to speak for me. Powerful. I have a friend who's with me all the time, Eddie Hillesum. Eddie Hillesum was a Dutch Jew living in Amsterdam, born and raised there. The Nazis invaded Holland in 1940. The gradual Nazification of the culture. And in face of her impending death, she could see the handwriting on the wall. As a Jew, she's going to be, she's going to be killed also, and her family. So she consecrated herself to an ambitious task. In the face of her impending death, she chose to bear witness. This is in her journal she did over 2 years. She chose to bear witness to the power of love and to reconcile her keen sensitivity to human suffering with her appreciation for the beauty and meaning of existence. She felt one must hold fast to what endures, the encounter with the divine in the depths of one's own soul and in other people, and along with her family. She was killed in Auschwitz at age 29. Yeah. So it doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way. We may be victims of the thing as we resist with love. However we do that, it's possible to turn things around. And people who have lost hope need to be given hope. This kind of hope, not Pollyanna kind of wishful thinking, but saying, no, this is real, we need each other. And I love you. Let's work together. We work together to bring about a global transformation. And be able to do that, we can celebrate the gift of life, minute by minute, choosing love over fear and hate, solidarity over isolation, healing over destroying, and as John Lewis said, getting into good trouble. So, Meta Peace Team, Tuesday is Giving Tuesday, and we have a flyer here. People, we invite you to maybe contribute on Giving Tuesday to Meta Peace Team. And we have envelopes and a flyer here. Also on Tuesday, Mary Hannah and I myself at 4:00 p.m. on Zoom are doing a session on stories of nonviolent empowerment. So the whole thing will be the fun of telling these powerful stories. So anyway, I love you much. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Father Dory, that. And I'm so glad that we brought it all around to we can turn things around, and we know at fellowship that is true. That is true. So we're running quite a bit late here, and that's okay. That's okay. But I know that people are smelling the delicious food in the social hall, and so we're going to just move along to our Peace Circle. Then I want to just tell you about the Christmas party, the Death Cafe. Watch for those in your e-announcements. And we also want to ask people if they can please help clean up after the potluck. Much appreciated. So let's do our Peace Circle and say our closing blessing.
The peace that was meant to